update a few calls that were made last Friday, and during the week I talked about a potential low in US dollar yen, which I said would be counterintuitive with the Fed cutting rates, especially as much as they cut. You have a little 2 week reversal here. Look at how important this 140 support is. So what I'm visualizing here is a 50% retrace, maybe up towards 149, 150 for a right shoulder. I think this will be dollar supportive. The yen will be the leader, but you could expect some pullbacks in some of the other currencies in all of them. And perhaps we still have a bounce left towards 102 in the Dixie. So the yen, check this out. I mean, look at this correlation. It's pretty tight. I think you guys are going to be surprised where I think yields could go during this move in the yen. And here we are. Isn't that a almost identical chart? They're pretty much tied at the hip right here. So should those targets near 149, 150 manifest in the end, the potential for the yields is to really surprise people, especially after a half a point cut. Most people would think that rates would keep going lower, but I think that we're going to get a rally back towards 4%, 3.90, 4% in the coming weeks, along with the yen. So I'm also would say that you take profits on a third, at least, maybe a half of your Aussie longs. It's a great trade from down here at 6.5, 150 pips, because there is a possibility that perhaps Aussie pulls all the way back and gives us another buy, 100 or back near these levels for some type of flat, some type of ABC back towards where we got in the first time. Euro, it kind of struggled. It's broken out of this flag, but it's really not great action coming out of it. It did not make a new high, although cable did. And keep an open mind. If you're long Euro, I do the same thing about going to the door in case we get a rally to 102, 102 and a half in the Dixie that could take the Euro back towards these lows. So watch out for that. You're diverging even in the strength in cable, so maybe cable pulls back as well. 132 should be support. We get through that. I think we're talking about 131 and a half or so. So I'm looking for a dollar bounce coming next week. Canada still looks, it's not even close to the lows compared to the dollar. So even Canada's been acting better. So there may be better selling opportunities if we get to 102 in Dixie. Now, last week in the Dixie, I said be alert for a potential reversal week, an outside week, if we took out last week's lows first and then turned up. So that did not, we did take out last week's lows and we held. That's not a reversal. That's it. We held. So there still is a chance. It's not a strong signal. Would have been a stronger signal if we had closed higher in the week. That didn't happen, but it still could generate a minor little pop back to 102. Perhaps what we need to have is a stop hunt over these two highs to clean out some of the late to the party dollar bears, and that would be over these highs right here. So I believe that's where everyone who's short the dollar index now has their stops. That's above 101.90. So maybe we get all it would take is 102 to rinse and get out the Johnny come latelys, and then we could look for a continuation down because I still think we have much higher levels. And, the Aussie, in case I'm wrong, and you take half off, this is a major breakout point that it's stalling against. Here's the weekly. It's a beautiful ascending triangle, breaks out over this week's highs and measures. Well, initially you have resistance here, but it measures up towards 73, 74. You just take the width of this formation. It's kind of the commodity currencies, I believe, are going to, pay bigger than, say, for example, the euro. Uh, Turning to gold, great week, another great week in gold. We had a reversal day after the Fed, and then we just blew through. Things are heating up in the Middle East. I will say this about gold. Here's your 4 hour at new highs, and it is not holding. That if we get a dollar bounce, I think we'll get some kind of pullback there. Um, the daily never, even with this huge move, to also diverged. So I'm going to try and be patient and look for better entries instead of chasing it. Here's a daily. So even with this big surge here, I think we're still diverging. Yeah. See, we haven't confirmed a high since April. It's been a huge move, but I'd be careful with longs. And I say that because, gold was making new highs, and some of these gold shares, they look okay, but they're grinding. Newmont looks like it could be a 3 drive to a top. That divergence. The GDX made a new high. Maybe we're going to 41 or so. This is an interesting one that Mike and I talked about. I'd buy pullbacks if we get that gold correction. Let's keep moving down the board. Some of the other silver stocks, it's been really no trip to Hollywood. So, I still haven't done anything here. Here's AG, a little bit stronger, but compared to the move on silver threatening new highs, it's really no trip to Hollywood. Um, Getting a little reversal in XLF up here. So let's keep moving. You have the Russell threatening highs. I'm looking for 240. Let's go to some of the energies. This is very important. Look at this breakdown of a triangle that we've retraced. This could be critical for the oil stocks. We start closing back above 72, then we could expect a test. Otherwise, this is just a rally back to the breakdown, and we're going to fail, sell off one more time. I favor that. Natural gas held at the 220 level. You could have raise your stops here. This was a day that it was recommended. I still would be buying breaks, but you could tighten it up under 220. And then if it gets through there, look at it at 210. Here are the S&Ps. Let's talk about the S&Ps. We have the beginning of drive 3, but I'm looking for it to trade up towards this third drive level. One thing I want to point out, and I'm looking for 6,000 to 6,300. This is something long term to pay attention to. Should we hold up into the election? Look at the RSI on the weekly. Okay, this is the weakest reading. Here's where we confirmed, right, on this first wave up. And then at the drive 2, we're at 80 again. See that? But drive 3, we're not even 70. Now we'll see what it ends up. Preferably when we near 6,000, we're going to stay at 70 or lower. And that would be a good setup for a lot of wave guys are saying this is wave 5 of 3, which will lead to a pretty good fourth wave retrace. So eyes fixed on that, more towards right after the election. I think that there'll be, some volatility and the beginning of a pretty good sizable correction in the market. Let's see. Bitcoin, I'm still bullish. I think it's not a question of if, but only when that we break out of this bull flag. It's now at about 68.5. That'll take us to a 6-figure reading. And grains have pulled back a little bit. I'd buy this break in corn. I'd buy this break in wheat. These are the weeklies. We're getting a little pullback wheat, and maybe if I'm right about a pop in the dollar, that will also assist taking the grains down for a correction. Here's your wheat. Here's the daily. We could still move towards 555. Oh, this is a 4. So here's your daily. Give you some guidelines. I'd be buying this pullback. We might even just, that may have been it, but just in case, you know, here around 550, if that happens, it's going to be a fib level there, moving average there. It's not popping up. Only the 200 is what contained it. But I'd buy a break. You're wrong under the lows. Same situation with corn. Maybe buy a break towards $4, $3.90, risk the lows. And the beans are the weakest chart because they didn't have divergence like corn or wheat. See the divergence in wheat at the low and the divergence in corn at the low. Beans did not have that. They had a confirmed low. So I'd my preferred longs, maybe beans make new lows and corn and wheat put in a higher low. So that's going to be a wrap the week ahead. So, you know, put something in your pocket from your short dollar positions. Yen, I think it has legs. The melt up is still underway until after the election. Don't get FOMO in the minors, and have a great weekend. I hope that this analysis is giving you some things that you're learning, the reasons why, the ideas based upon the contingencies that I'm laying out for you, that a picture speaks 1,000 words. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them there under the video. Have a great weekend, everyone. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings.